Tips from the classroom. Eyes on the road. Forgive me for not looking in the camera. Tonight, I want to talk about something that often comes into conversation and becomes a topic of importance in the classroom with my students when I focus, address, and want my students to excel and become better readers. Excel as musicians, because reading will offer you more opportunities in the working world. It will also empower you to write music, which could be very helpful when you need to learn and effectively perform a repertoire that you're not too familiar with. So let's say you get a call to sub for someone sort of last minute. If you get the music ahead of time, or if you have to sight read, needless to say, you need to be a monster or a good reader, or both. Monster, you can sight read it good. Maybe you need the charts the day before and then you pull it off with some monster playing. But if you don't get the music, because there is no music, but you only get audio, whether it's from a CD, work in progress, Spotify playlist, if it's cover bands, whatever it is. If you know how to read music, you know how to write music. So with that being said, and writing allows you to, jot down notes, remember endings by looking at it instead of losing sleep at night and saying, what am I doing next? Oh my God, I don't remember that ending. You write down simple charts and you'll be able to function and pull it off. But the real tip from the classroom today is that rhythmic solfege, knowing on a one line, a snare line, knowing where the notes are, rhythmically speaking, where each attack precisely is based on which beat it's on and what subdivision is that beat. So if you're playing a bar in 4/4 and you see the second 16 note of beat 2, you want to know exactly where it is. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. So that's rhythmic solfege, very, very important. And the reason why you want to spend time on that before taking anything on the drum set is because sometimes, and it happens today in the classroom, which is why I am capturing this particular topic and this angle of the topic and make it available for those of you who chose to have access to these unlisted videos, which are only available for you. Okay, so if you bring a rhythm, a chart, a 4-bar phrase, an 8-bar phrase, whatever it is, or an entire chart, if you bring that chart and start playing on the drum set without having a clear vision and understanding how those notes relate to solfege, knowing exactly where they belong in the beat, in the bar, based on what subdivision they are, you're never going to know if any mistakes you make are based on the actual reading or maybe some coordination issues, because reading for a drum set is quite different than reading rhythms on a snare drum, one line. And that's what I'm talking about. You want to make sure you know your solfege and you can look at that chart, and whenever you see the notes, don't worry yet about rhythmic interpretation. Which limb? Am I going to do it on the bass drum, on the snare drum? That's not important in the very first stage. The very first stage is to know where the notes belong, where the notes are. Because this way, if you can solfege it, sing it as you see it. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1E and a 2E, 3 and a 4E and a 1E, a 2E, a 3E, a 4E, etc., etc. I'm spitting out letters. Maybe I even, used syllables that are not the conventional one, but I have a clear idea of where the rhythms are. So 1E, a 2E, a 3E, a 4E, daga, da daga, da daga, da daga. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and E, 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 and E, and You want to have a clarity of understanding where the notes are. Once you can sing them correctly, you don't even need to be on the drum set, which is the great advantage of using this method. Then you bring it on the drum set and you try to orchestrate. That's a long process. A good teacher will guide you. There will be videos here on how to orchestrate figures on the drum set, but you gotta know where the notes are. Because if something doesn't work when you do it on the drum set, you don't wanna be confused and make it harder by adding another task. So if you're not clear on where the figures are, now you're making it harder by also adding some coordination, independence, however you want to call it, type tasks. You're not going to know if the outcome is not solid, whether it's because of the rhythmic accuracy or the coordination or a little bit of both. So be clear on the solfege. If you have time, if you got to sight read and go on the set, you have no choice. But if you have time and you're given a drum chart, look at it first as a piece of paper. I don't care if you're in the bathroom, in the living room, in the car, not driving, of course, on a bus, anywhere. Once you know how to solfege it non-stop, if there is a bar with a ton of ink, you break it down. We're going to talk about that. Some practice techniques, mastery techniques for reading. If you got to do that, that's fine too. But the ultimate goal, before you go on the drum set, you can sight, orally sing with syllables, rhythmic solfege, everything you see. Great if you understand that with numbers, whatever language you speak. In America, 16 notes, for whatever reason, are vocalized as 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, if it's a bar of 4/4. In 5, it would be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a, etc., etc. The triplets are 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Do I agree with that? I don't. I'm coming out with I think a slightly different, significantly different system, which is a bit more clever and will alleviate some of the confusion that I have encountered as an individual myself and have heard from my students. This is it for today. It's getting dark, but I wanted to capture this other moment in the classroom. This is going to be a very long collection, and only some of you will have access to all of this knowledge. Remember, it comes from being in the classroom for almost 25 years at college level, and from my own experience as a player and as a teacher. Thank you so much.